Most people think of sleep as this passive thing, like turning off a switch and hoping you feel better in the morning. But sleep isn't passive. It's not downtime. It's active, restorative, and absolutely essential. Sleep is your power plant. It's the place where your brain runs its most critical operations, where your body rebuilds itself, and where your nervous system recalibrates. When you truly understand what sleep does, you stop seeing it as optional. You begin to realize that it's the foundation of everything else you want in life: clarity, energy, memory, performance, even your emotional resilience. Let me break this down. During sleep, your brain isn't just resting, it's literally flushing out waste, consolidating memories, and pruning unnecessary connections. That groggy feeling when you don't sleep, it's not just tiredness, it's cognitive pollution. It's your brain trying to operate in a fog. Your frontal lobe, the part responsible for decision-making and focus, gets dimmed. Your limbic system, the emotional center, becomes hyperactive. That means you're less logical, more reactive, more impulsive. And it's not because you're lazy or undisciplined. It's because your power supply is compromised. We live in a culture that glorifies hustle. We reward people who push through exhaustion, who brag about pulling all-nighters or working on 4 hours of sleep. But what's really happening behind the scenes is silent self-destruction. Your body can't repair muscles, balance hormones, or regulate blood sugar without deep, consistent sleep. Your immune system weakens. Your stress response becomes erratic. You might still be standing, but you're operating at a fraction of your capacity. And over time, that takes a toll, not just on your productivity, but on your health, your relationships, and your ability to lead. Think about this. A single night of poor sleep can reduce your insulin sensitivity by over 30%. That means your body responds to food differently, your cravings spike, your ability to regulate emotions drops, your reaction time slows. You literally become a different version of yourself, a less capable one, because you skipped the very process that makes your body and mind whole again. Now, here's the truth. You don't have to live like that. Sleep isn't a mystery, it's a system. And like any system, when you understand how it works, you can control it. You can create a strategy, one that aligns with your biology instead of fighting it. But it starts with respect. Respect for your physiology. Respect for the fact that sleep isn't the thing that steals hours from your day. It's the thing that gives those hours power, meaning, and direction. Because when you start treating your sleep like your power plant, you stop dragging through life and you start rising to meet it. We weren't built for this world. Not this version of it. Our biology was shaped over thousands of years to align with the rhythm of the sun, the cooling of the night, the natural silence after dark. But now, we've engineered an environment that is completely out of sync with that rhythm. Artificial light blazes into the evening, screens blast blue light straight into our retinas, notifications train our brains to stay alert long past when we should be winding down. And somehow we're surprised when we can't sleep, when we toss and turn, when we wake up exhausted, even after 8 hours in bed. See, your sleep isn't just a matter of feeling tired or not. It's governed by something ancient, your circadian rhythm. This is your internal clock, and it doesn't care what your schedule is. It doesn't care how many emails you have to answer or what show you want to binge. It's tuned to light and dark, period. And every time you push it, every time you ignore it, it fights back. That's why one late night can mess with your energy for days. That's why people who travel across time zones feel jet lagged, because they're not just tired, they're out of rhythm. But you don't need to fly around the world to get jet lagged. Most people live in a state of chronic social jet lag every single day. You wake up to an alarm, you chug caffeine to jolt your system, you push through artificial productivity windows, and then when your brain wants to power down, you feed it stimulation, more light, more screens, more noise. You've overridden the natural cues that once kept you aligned with deep, rejuvenating sleep. Now, here's the danger. The longer you live out of alignment, the harder it becomes to reset and the more damage it does. Your metabolism slows, your mood becomes unpredictable, your hormones fall out of balance, and you start to feel like constantly chasing energy, chasing motivation, chasing peace, when really you've just lost your rhythm. That rhythm is everything. It's how your body knows when to produce melatonin, when to cool your core temperature, when to release growth hormone, when to detoxify the brain. It's not optional, it's essential. The good news is you can reclaim it and you don't need to upend your entire life to do it. It starts with awareness, with understanding that every choice you make, especially in the evening, is either syncing you with your rhythm or breaking it. Dim the lights. Power down earlier. Get sunlight in your eyes in the morning. Anchor your body back to what it knows, to what it's always known. Because if you want to sleep deeply, if you want to wake up feeling like you own the day instead of being buried by it, then you've got to stop living like your biology is negotiable. There's a battle going on inside you every single day, one that most people never even realize is happening. It's invisible, but it shapes how you feel, how you think, and how well you sleep. And at the center of this battle are two key players, cortisol and melatonin. These two hormones are like opposing forces. Cortisol gets you up, alert, ready to move. It's what drives focus, attention, action. Melatonin does the opposite. It's the signal that tells your body to slow down, to disconnect from stimulation, to prepare for deep recovery. The problem is, in most people's lives today, this balance is completely out of whack. What we've done with modern life is create an environment that triggers cortisol almost nonstop. Think about it. You wake up and the first thing you do is check your phone. Notifications, emails, headlines. Your brain reads all of it as demand, as urgency, as potential threat. Boom, cortisol spikes. Then you're into caffeine, traffic, deadlines, arguments, multitasking. You are basically riding a stress roller coaster from the moment you open your eyes. And guess what that does to melatonin later? It crushes it. You've kept your brain so stimulated, your system so revved up, that when night falls and it's time to downshift, it can't. The brakes are gone. Your nervous system doesn't know how to slow down anymore. This isn't just theory. This is neurobiology. When cortisol stays elevated late into the day, it suppresses melatonin production. And without melatonin rising in the evening, your body never gets the proper signal to initiate the sleep process. That means no deep sleep, no REM cycles, no restoration. You might be in bed, but your brain isn't resting. It's tossing, replaying conversations, stressing about tomorrow, stuck in overdrive. That's not sleep. That's mental chaos wearing a blanket. And it doesn't stop there. Poor sleep feeds the cycle. You wake up groggy. Your cortisol spikes even harder to compensate. You rely on more caffeine and you carry even more tension through the day. Then by nightfall, you're more wired than ever. It's a feedback loop. And for so many people, it becomes their default state. They normalize it. They live in this overstimulated, under-recovered space for months, even years, without realizing that they're destroying their health from the inside out. But here's the shift. Once you understand this hormonal dance, you can take back control. You can start designing your day in a way that allows cortisol to rise when it should and fall when it must. You can create space in your evenings for melatonin to take over. That might mean stepping away from screens earlier. It might mean replacing chaos with stillness. It might mean getting intentional about how you transition from day mode to night mode. Because your sleep isn't just about the moment your head hits the pillow. It's about the chemistry you create leading up to that moment. And when you learn to master that chemistry, your body will finally remember how to rest. There's something most people don't realize until it's already working against them. Sleep debt is real and it's powerful. You might think that losing a few hours here and there doesn't matter. You tell yourself you'll catch up on the weekend, that one late night won't hurt. But that's not how it works. Your body keeps score. Every hour of missed quality sleep adds up. And the cost isn't just tired eyes. It's your brain power, your mood, your drive, and your long-term health. Sleep isn't just about quantity, it's about quality and consistency. When you cut it short, even by a little, your brain doesn't get enough time in the deeper stages of sleep, where real recovery happens. This is where memory consolidates, where your emotional regulation system recalibrates, where your nervous system resets. Skip that, and what happens? You wake up already depleted. Maybe not enough to notice at first, but it accumulates day after day, night after night. Like interest on a credit card you forgot to pay off, it grows. And the longer you go without paying it down, the more it takes from you. You've probably felt it, that fog that won't lift, no matter how many cups of coffee you drink. That impatience, that low-grade anxiety, that feeling of always being slightly behind. That's not just stress. That's sleep debt in action. Your brain is running on reserve power. And here's the twist. Your performance might still feel good enough to get by, but what you don't see is what's being left on the table. The deeper focus you're not accessing, the sharper thinking you're not unlocking, the better version of you that you're not stepping into simply because your system is too taxed to show up fully. And then there's the emotional toll. Sleep debt doesn't just slow your mind, it hijacks your emotions. When you're sleep deprived, your amygdala becomes hyper-reactive, while your prefrontal cortex, the logical, rational part of your brain, starts to dial down. That means you're more likely to snap at loved ones, to make poor decisions, to spiral into self-doubt. And all of it feels personal, but it's not personal. It's physiological. You're not broken, you're sleep deprived. But here's the good news. You can reverse it. Sleep debt doesn't have to be permanent. You don't need to overhaul your life. What you need is consistency. Prioritize sleep the way you prioritize your goals, because without sleep, you can't execute. Without recovery, your drive will burn you out instead of fueling you forward. Your clarity, your confidence, your energy, it all starts with how you sleep. Because if you want to perform at your highest level, if you want to lead, create, connect, and thrive, then paying off your sleep debt isn't a suggestion, it's a necessity. Most people treat sleep like something that just happens. You get in bed, close your eyes, and hope for the best. But high quality sleep isn't about luck, it's about design. It's about being intentional with how you transition from the noise of the day into the stillness of the night. Sleep is not the reward at the end of your day. It's a biological ritual that requires preparation. And if you want consistency in how you sleep, you need a system that cues your brain and body to let go. Otherwise, you'll keep carrying the chaos of the day into your nights. Think about how most people approach bedtime. They work or scroll right up to the moment they crash. Their nervous system is still wired, their mind's still racing, and then they wonder why it takes them an hour to fall asleep or why they wake up in the middle of the night. That's not rest. That's friction. And friction at bedtime is a sign that your system doesn't feel safe enough to surrender. Your brain doesn't just switch off. It needs signals, real, repeatable ones, that it's time to shift modes. That's where the power of ritual comes in. When you build a sleep system, something predictable, something that tells your body it's time to calm down, you're not just creating routine, you're activating biology. Your brain learns patterns. It associates specific behaviors with certain outcomes. So if you consistently lower the lights, disconnect from screens, stretch, breathe deeply, or journal before bed, whatever your version looks like, you're installing cues. And those cues begin to quiet the noise. They begin to nudge your system into parasympathetic mode, rest and digest, not fight or flight. Even simple details matter. Room temperature, light exposure, noise levels, these aren't preferences. They're biological levers. Your body sleeps better in cooler environments. Your brain produces more melatonin when there's less light. Your heart rate lowers faster in silence or calming soundscapes. So your environment becomes a partner in your ritual. It either supports rest or resists it. But the most important part isn't perfection, it's consistency. Because when you repeat a calming ritual night after night, you train your system to expect sleep, and that expectation is powerful. This is how high performers, athletes, creators, leaders, people whose lives demand clarity and energy approach rest. Not casually, not randomly, with purpose. Because they know that how they sleep determines how they live. And when you start to value your pre-sleep ritual as much as you value your morning routine or your work habits, everything changes. You start to fall asleep faster, you wake up more refreshed, you stop fighting sleep, and start partnering with it. Because when you ritualize your recovery, you stop surviving your nights and you start using them to rebuild your best self.